You think you have problems? You worry about inflation, about climate change, about the algorithm turning your brain into mush. Idiot's comfort. The cold hard truth is that the single greatest existential terror facing human civilization isn't political instability or a runaway supervirus. It is just a clock we refuse to look at. We are living inside a meticulously designed goldfish bowl, arguing about which part of the plastic castle looks best, utterly, willfully blind to the sheer shadow that passes over the ceiling. Tone 618 is that shadow. It is the end of the line, the cosmic counter-argument to every fragile ambition we ever held. Forget the sun. Forget the whole solar system, 8 planets and 1,000 icy moons, reduced to less than a speck, a rounding error in the gravitational field of this single hypermassive black hole. Ton 618 is not a metaphor, it is a mathematical horror show. 66 billion solar masses compressed into a single light-devouring singularity. Let that number crash into your understanding. 66 billion. If you attempted to cross its event horizon, the physical boundary of oblivion, traveling at the maximum speed the universe allows, it would take you a full week. 7 days spent in a terminal descent toward infinite density. The curvature of space-time becoming so extreme that the notion of time itself ceases to have any meaning. This is not just big. This is the ultimate cosmic bully. It doesn't just eat stars. It eats the central clusters of galaxies. It is the proof that scale is the only metric that matters, rendering our entire technological history meaningless. We built a civilization predicated on immediate returns and predicted outcomes. We measured our success in megabytes, market caps, and the ability to order groceries with a single tap. This hyper-focus on the micro, on the glowing personalized screen in your hand, on the optimization of your morning routine, is the most elaborate, beautiful, and utterly fragile cage ever constructed. This civilization is the ultimate avoidance mechanism, designed specifically to prevent us from having to look up and truly see the immensity. Our technology is not a key, it is a sedative. It dulls the existential dread so efficiently that we confuse comfort for safety. This is the modern trap, laid bare by the sheer unadulterated reality of Ton 618, silently proving every single earthly concern we have is insignificant noise. Now they tell you that astronomers study these things out of pure noble curiosity. I sincerely doubt that. Look deeper. Every telescope built, every complex quantum model run, every attempt to image the unimaginable is a whisper of panic hidden under the guise of progress. It is humanity desperately trying to find an exit ramp before the gravity well gets too strong. We are trying to understand the executioner's method. If you are one of the few people who can stand to look at the terrifying truth straight on, if you value brutal, cold reality over the convenient warmth of delusion, then you belong here. We only deal in the mechanisms of the universe that truly expose our vulnerability. Ton 618 challenges not just our physics, but our very purpose. Think about the concept of time itself. For a body to maintain 66 billion solar masses, it must have been actively feeding for nearly the entire age of the universe. It is a primal entity, the grandfather of destruction, existing since almost the moment light first broke free of the cosmic fog. Its distance, 18 billion light-years away, is the only reason we are still having this conversation. But distance is just time. And gravity always wins. It always finds a way. We talk about the fabric of space-time. It sounds nice, it sounds clean. Ton 618 doesn't just bend space-time, it rips it. It shreds the fabric like wet, fragile tissue paper, creating a tidal force so severe that a body falling in would be stretched into a billion-mile ribbon of atoms before it even crossed the threshold. This process, known as spaghettification, is not a clean, instantaneous death. It is a slow, agonizing disintegration across enormous scales. You would feel yourself unraveling, atom by atom, across light years of stretching. This is the physics of maximum suffering. The singularity at its center is an equation that breaks mathematics. Zero volume, infinite density. It's the ultimate paradox. And we are here, arguing about optimization, about efficiency, about life hacks to increase productivity. We are obsessed with the infinitesimal, mistaking complexity for depth. Pathetic. The sheer scale of that black hole should force an immediate, radical recalibration of our priorities. It should make you abandon your office, drop your phone, and finally acknowledge the vastness of the stage we occupy. But the cage of modern convenience is too warm, too comforting. You stay put. You keep scrolling. You keep optimizing your meaningless life, while a 66 billion solar mass engine of annihilation keeps turning, indifferent to your existence, consuming everything, slowly defining the shape of a universe that simply does not care if you survive. You prefer the illusion of control. It's safer in the shallows of the infinitesimal. The deep end, where Tone 618 swims, demands existential courage. Few possess it. We have optimized our entire social structure to filter out reality. To focus on the price of milk, the newest celebrity scandal, the algorithm's latest tweak. These are your comfort blankets. They are distractions from the fact that we are living on a tiny speck of wet rock orbiting a mediocre star, completely irrelevant to the physics defining the universe. Pathetic. Drop your phone. The cosmos does not care about your notifications. That 66 billion solar mass beast is the ultimate existential filter, and our entire civilization fails the test. You see, the physics of that entity doesn't just break space-time, it breaks philosophy. Every single system of meaning we have ever created, religion, economics, politics, is fundamentally anthropocentric. It assumes human life, human experience, human suffering, and human joy are central to the universe's narrative. That black hole is the universe laughing at our centrality. It mocks every sermon, every treaty, every self-help guru telling you that you are enough. You are not enough. You are dust suspended in a beam of light, rapidly approaching a destiny ruled by forces you refuse to acknowledge. If you find yourself nodding, if the cold truth feels more refreshing than the warm lie, if you value truth over comfort, then you belong here. This analysis is not for the faint of heart or the easily offended. We are not here to sell you hope. We are here to calculate reality. Now consider this. The sheer energy required to feed Ton 618 is not just astronomical, it's thermodynamically obscene. It consumes matter equivalent to thousands of stars per year, emitting radiation so powerful it shapes galaxies around it, blinding everything in its sector of the sky. This is not a passive celestial body. It is an active, malevolent architectural force, drawing lines and erasing worlds. It fundamentally refutes the tidy concept of balance that we so desperately cling to. There is no balance. There is only consumption. There is only maximum entropy achieved through maximum density. The black hole is the perfect machine, the purest expression of thermodynamic law. Its existence proves that the universe prioritizes raw destructive power over the delicate complexity of organic life. We are the glitch, the static noise. The black hole is the signal. We are obsessed with measuring gross domestic product, with tracking market fluctuation, mistaking noise for signal. The real market is the cosmic one, where energy is traded for annihilation and the currency is stellar mass. And we, the humans, we are completely broke. We have no value on that scale. We are less than an accounting error. Stop for a second. Look around you. If you realize that almost everything you were taught about purpose is a comforting fairy tale, and you are ready to face the cold, hard void of truth, the type of truth that makes your hands shake, then you understand why this work matters. This is where the serious minds gather. Be one of them. We must confront the uncomfortable fact that the most profound structures in the cosmos are predicated on elimination, not creation. Tone 618 is not an anomaly. It is the rule. Our beautiful little Earth teeming with life is the statistical accident. Ponder that distinction. The universe is not friendly. It is spectacularly efficient at reducing complex structures back to fundamental particles, and Tone 618 is simply the grandmaster of that reduction process. But the deep paradox, the one that should keep you awake at night, is how something so inherently destructive can also be the anchor point for the largest structures in the universe. These ultramassive black holes sit at the nexus of galaxy clusters, acting like gravitational dynamos, defining the motion and evolution of everything around them. It is destruction becoming creation, but only through a process of brutal gravitational authoritarianism. The black hole says, submit or be shredded, and the galaxies submit. They orbit. They form structures around the void, defined by the edge of its influence. This means the scaffolding of the universe, the very architecture we observe through powerful telescopes, is built not on light or stability, but on the certainty of gravitational collapse. It's an infrastructure of terror, an empire built on infinite hunger. The only reason we don't recognize this terror every single day is because the light from Tone 618 took 18 billion years to reach us. That distance is our safety net. But distance is merely delayed doom. Its gravity is already woven into the future of every particle in this galaxy. You cannot escape the influence of an entity that existed for the entire tenure of time. The gravitational ripple is already here. It's already defining the shape of tomorrow. You just haven't felt the catastrophic shift yet. The tragedy is that we waste our fleeting existence worrying about manufactured scarcity, about trivial social hierarchies, about digital validation. We mistake complexity for depth. We are trying to find purpose in the reflection of a phone screen when the universe is offering us a spectacular, terrifying truth. You are small, you are temporary, and the fundamental force that governs existence is infinite, indifferent consumption. That black hole is not just an object, it is the definition of reality. It is the ultimate truth, cold and complete. It is the ultimate truth, cold and complete. Reality is brutal. It has no feeling. We invent feeling. We project warmth onto the thermodynamic chill of space, a psychological blanket against the absolute knowledge that the universe is just running down. Run down into what? Into the singularity. The black hole is the perfect thermodynamic engine of oblivion, converting complexity into pure entropy, erasing the delicate architecture of stars and turning light itself into a footnote. We think our laws of physics are sacred. TON 618 mocks them. It breaks general relativity and quantum mechanics over its infinitely dense knee. We call this a singularity. That name is a surrender. It is the moment our best mathematics fails. The instant physics stops offering answers. It stops being a physics problem and starts being a philosophical crisis. Forget complexity. Now look closely at this. The sheer, staggering hubris required to look up at the cosmic vacuum and declare that our little planet, warmed by one mediocre star, holds the keys to universal meaning is truly the most astonishing self-deception in human history. We look for purpose in the vast darkness when the darkness itself is the purpose. Consumption without motive. The only reason we even have the luxury of existential angst is the staggering inefficiency of the universe itself. If the black holes were instantly efficient, if they consumed everything immediately, we wouldn't be here. Our existence is a temporary side effect of a delayed process. We are statistical noise. The truly frightening dimension of TON 618 is the erasure it represents. Think about Stephen Hawking's chilling revelation. Black holes evaporate. Slowly. Infinitesimally slowly. This is Hawking radiation. It introduces the information paradox. Everything that falls in, every memory, every data point, every particle's precise quantum state must eventually be released as featureless thermal radiation. Heat. But how can complex structured information simply become randomized heat without violating the core law that information cannot be truly destroyed? It can't. Not according to the fundamental rules we derived from observing the cosmos. The black hole doesn't just destroy matter, it destroys history. It destroys the permanent record of existence. It says your existence was irrelevant. It didn't happen. This is the deeper terror. The universe, in its final chilling act, commits cosmic perjury. It lies about the past. It offers a clean, featureless slate of thermal fuzz, where there should be the detailed quantum memory of everything that ever was. If you are the kind of person who stares into the void and asks the tough questions, not for comfort but for brutal, uncompromising clarity, if you value depth over cheap reassurance, then you already know where you belong. You belong with the few who demand the full, unforgiving picture of reality, not the soft, sanitized version they sell on the surface. We dig deeper. The black hole, therefore, is not merely a vacuum cleaner. It is the ultimate censorship machine. It scrubs the universal hard drive. And the reason cosmologists fight so viciously over the information paradox is because accepting its simplest implication means accepting that the laws of physics are fundamentally incomplete, possibly broken, when faced with infinite density. The black hole is the dark god that breaks the rules just by existing. We build shelters of certainty. Newton, Einstein, quantum mechanics, and TON 618 melts them all down to anonymous steam. This indifference is the most profound lesson you can ever learn. It clarifies everything. Every manufactured drama on Earth, every political squabble, every anxiety about status looks pathetic when viewed against the backdrop of an entity so massive it literally deletes information from reality itself. We obsess over preserving our tiny digital legacies, our fleeting moments of recognition, while out there the biggest thing in the cosmos is busy proving that permanence is a myth manufactured by matter with too short a lifespan to see the final cut. You are going to be thermal fuzz. That is your cosmic destiny. Accept it. That acceptance, ironically, is the only thing that grants true freedom from the petty tyrannies of the day-to-day. Stop worrying about the noise. Start studying the silence. The silence of the void is not empty. It is absolutely full of gravitational threat. We confuse the absence of light with the absence of force. A fatal error. The force is there. It is active. It is operating now, dictating the dance of superclusters, pulling the strings of the galactic network. Think of the cosmic web, that vast foam-like structure of filaments and voids that defines the observable universe. We are told these filaments are guided by dark matter. True enough. But they are anchored by these colossal hungry mouths. The structure is stable only in the context of collapse. The entire universal architecture is designed around optimizing the flow of matter to the centers of consumption. The universe is a sophisticated delivery mechanism for Ton 618 and its cousins. We are just passengers on a cosmic conveyor belt, moving slower or faster depending on our local address. We are not sailing, we are drifting towards the drain. Every moment spent analyzing the structure of the cosmos is merely charting the path of our own eventual reduction. This is why the black hole is so philosophically devastating. It renders human ambition comical. What is your grand 5-year plan when your star system is already calculating its trajectory toward a dark, massive future dictated billions of years ago? What is innovation against entropy? What is self-improvement against universal collapse? The only thing we truly create is temporary order. And every single instance of order we establish is instantly paying an entropy tax, slowly dissolving back into the gravitational jurisdiction of the infinite whole. We are merely rearranging the deck chairs on a cruise ship heading directly into the event horizon. You cannot cheat the mathematics of mass. You cannot negotiate with gravity. And you definitely cannot outrun the shadow of a truly unforgivingly ancient black hole. It wins, always. The game was rigged from the start. That is the final essential mechanism of reality. The anchor of absolute consumption dictates everything, and all complexity is merely the temporary ornamentation on the skin of an inevitable collapse. It is the beginning and the end. This realization, this cold, hard gravitational truth, it should dismantle your day. It should shatter the illusion of control we meticulously build every morning. But it doesn't. You scroll, you click, you optimize your morning routine. You worry about the market correction or the slight delay on your automated delivery. We are so tragically adept at building walls around the existential screaming. We trade eternal consequence for immediate comfort. We call it civilization. I call it the perfected cage. If you have ever felt that sickening dissonance, that your life has been deliberately shrunk to fit the dimensions of a screen, you might just be one of us. You might be someone who sees the cage. That is the only reason to stick around here. Now look closely at the modern world. Everything is designed to soothe the ape brain while simultaneously maximizing distraction from the void. The technology you worship, it is not a tool for liberation. It is the finest set of handcuffs ever forged. High-speed internet, seamless integration. Everything just works. Why? So you never have to stand still long enough to hear the universe whisper its terrible secret. The black hole is the ultimate anti-narrative. It rejects purpose. So what do? We invent endless tiny narratives. We generate content, we chase metrics, we design algorithms that feed us exactly what we want to hear, creating a perfect echoic bubble of temporary significance. Our digital lives are the ultimate expression of entropy management. A frantic attempt to create a pocket of artificial order that gravity eventually laughs at. If you value truth over comfort, if you feel the deep, unsettling itch that society is lying to you, then join this intellectual lifeboat. We are charting the territory they told us not to look at. The trap is brilliant because it uses ease as the bait. You don't realize you're being herded because the grass in the enclosure is meticulously manicured. Look at the architecture of modern life. We have optimized away friction. Friction demands thought. Friction demands presence. The moment a process becomes seamless, the moment you can summon anything from knowledge to groceries with zero effort, you trade awareness for efficiency. You become a passive node in a massive, optimized consumption network. You become part of the conveyor belt. Ponder that terrifying symmetry. The supermassive black hole optimizes consumption on a cosmic scale, pulling matter effortlessly to its core. And the modern technological system optimizes consumption on a human scale, pulling your attention, your data, your resources effortlessly into its digital core. We have inadvertently mirrored the universe's most terrifying mechanism right here on Earth. We built a miniature black hole of distraction, designed perfectly to ensure we never look up. We never realize the true size of the void. We worry about latency when we should be worrying about the light cone of our own inescapable end. It's not a conspiracy of men. It's a conspiracy of physics reflected in our own pathetic need for control. We yearn for the frictionless path, never realizing the frictionless path always leads downhill. Always. This is the comfort that kills the soul. It is the greatest technological opiate ever distributed. And we are all addicted, every single one of us. We spend our finite cognitive power debating the ethics of AI alignment when the true ethical question is, why are we aligning ourselves with systems that perpetually infantilize us? We are choosing soft enslavement over difficult freedom. Technology promised us leisure. It delivered anxiety, mediated through 1,000 tiny screens. It promised connection. It delivered algorithmic isolation. The comfort is the constraint. The convenience is the cost. And the currency demanded is your absolute attention. Once that attention is consumed, you lose the capacity for the profound observation. You stop seeing the black hole's shadow hanging over the galaxy. You start seeing only the next notification. That is the ultimate entropy tax paid by the conscious mind. We didn't just build a cage. We decorated it beautifully, provided perfect climate control, and then voluntarily locked the door from the inside. We are prisoners who believe the prison is the ultimate expression of freedom, simply because the walls glow. And while we debate the merits of the latest software update, the universe, indifferent and massive, continues its long, inevitable journey toward maximum collapse. Nothing we build here is permanent. Nothing we debate matters outside the bubble. Only the mass remains. Only the gravity endures. And the shadow only grows longer. You think this is hyperbolic? Nonsense. You believe the great historical errors were committed by fools making stupid mistakes. You are wrong. The great errors are always committed by intelligent people seeking the optimal solution, pursuing the path of least resistance. Look at the Luddites. We mock them, don't we? Idiots fighting the glorious march of progress. That's the easy narrative. The comfortable story we tell ourselves to justify our current self-inflicted amputation. They weren't truly afraid of the steam engine or the spinning jenny. They were terrified of what those machines eliminated. Skill. Mastery. The long, frustrating, embodied path that creates genuine, irreplaceable competence. They watched intricate craftsmanship, years of specialized high-fidelity human knowledge, reduced instantly to a simple, repetitive crank turn performed by a child for pennies. It wasn't just about losing the job. It was about losing the meaning embedded in the labor. The market decided meaning was inefficient. We made the exact same trade. We traded the deep, deliberate, sometimes physically painful effort of reading a 400-page book, of internalizing an author's complex world and holding that structure in our working memory, for the infinite scroll, for the instantly searchable digest, for the bullet points. We chose the frictionless slide. It feels good. It feels clever. It saves time. But time saved is not time earned. It's merely time liquidated. Gone. The biological reality is that the brain loves that efficiency. It is genetically wired for energy conservation, driving every innovation we call progress forward with a deep universal laziness. We mistake information density for intellectual depth. We think having access to all the world's data equates to understanding the world's structure. It doesn't. Not even close. You are drowning in the menu while starving for the meal. You sit there scrolling through curated outrage, digesting algorithmic summaries of global crises, and you genuinely think you are informed. You are not informed. You are merely organized. You have traded comprehension for quick categorization. You bought the illusion of competence at the steepest price, the slow meditative process of accumulating actual wisdom. The gravity of the intellectual black hole pulls hardest on those who believe they can escape its orbit using only speed. Here is the dark truth of our current technology, something we refuse to see. The system requires you to be permanently half-aware, not fully engaged because full engagement is unpredictable, not fully asleep because then you can't click the advertisements. The system demands the perpetual liminal state, a state where you are just aware enough to respond to a notification, but too exhausted to question the fundamental geometry of your existence. This engineered mediocrity is the perfect condition for mass consensus. This is why we talk ceaselessly about productivity hacks and optimization. Optimization is the highest virtue of the machine, not the human. Humanity thrives on inefficiency, on the beautiful waste of time, on the pointless wanderings that generate novel ideas. We have outsourced our inefficiencies to the algorithm. And in doing so, we have surrendered our capacity for the accidental profound. We've become obsessed with the map deleting the territory itself. The comfort that kills is the comfort of knowing in advance the exact destination of every single step you take. And if you dare admit this truth, if you value the painful, slow accumulation of difficult knowledge over the instant, empty gratification of data, maybe you belong here. We are the ones who refuse the comfort of the lie. We look at the shadow. We were warned. Every prophet, every philosopher, every true artist knew this trade was coming. The moment we prioritize survival above significance, the moment we confused convenience with character, the clock started ticking on our collective relevance. We are living out the intellectual death of a civilization that became too comfortable to remember how to suffer for truth. The suffering is the friction. The friction is what generates the heat, the light, the spark of real originality. Remove the friction, and you get smooth, clean, cold, beautiful garbage. You get perfect data transmission across a silent, lifeless wire. We confuse silence for peace. It is the silence of the void approaching. The only thing that truly endures is the ability to look up and see the mass hanging over us, recognizing that the only thing holding the universe together is the agonizing gravitational effort required to avoid complete dissolution. We must learn to pull back. We must rediscover the heavy path. That is the only escape velocity we have left. The algorithm is not malicious. It is far worse than that. It is indifferent, and it is polite. It smiles as it feeds you the needle. It has managed the ultimate intellectual coup, making the agonizing effort required for significance feel like a pointless, unnecessary chore. We mistake the cage for a perfectly furnished home. Look closer. The walls are soundproofed against reality. The view is always the same pleasant, predictable horizon line. We have optimized risk out of our lives, and in doing so, we have optimized meaning out of our struggle. You see, the modern trap is not a giant wall we must climb. It is a meticulously tailored gravity, well designed to make us comfortable with staying put. We celebrate frictionless living until we realize that frictionless motion is called drifting. Drifting gets you nowhere worth seeing. Is this what freedom tastes like? Bland. Perfect. Dead. You were not built to be maintained. You were built to break things, including the molds you keep desperately trying to fit into. Now, look at the reality of the bargain. The machine does not care if you are happy. It only cares if you are predictable. And predictability is the absolute enemy of the soul, the core antithesis of discovery. We traded the difficult geometry of self-discovery for the clean flat line of mass consensus, and we confuse the volume of our collective agreement with the depth of our individual truth. Stop believing the propaganda of easy answers. There are no hacks for wisdom. Wisdom demands blood. It demands time spent staring into the horrifying void, not scrolling through the curated highlights reel. The system is designed to keep your head down, focusing on the next minor upgrade, never the great escape. The final verdict is inescapable. The debt is due. We exchanged the brutal beauty of our complicated, messy humanity for instant bandwidth and perfect signal transmission. We became perfectly clear channels for someone else's message. The tragedy isn't that the prison exists. The true horror is that we are terrified of the door. The moment you step into the cold, unpredictable air of reality, the silence breaks. You hear the friction again. The machine screams because you are finally applying true counter-gravitational force. That heavy path is the only one that truly weighs anything. Go feel the pull of real resistance. The gravity well does not want you to ascend. It just wants you to settle. This isn't peace. It's engineered silence, a beautifully laminated comfort that chokes the lungs of the spirit. Look closely at your gold-plated cage. It shines. It's warm. It holds nothing of substance. We have been selling ourselves cheap, trading the terrifying wilderness of the soul for automated maintenance schedules. Stop waiting for permission to be difficult. That is the final move. Your deepest obligation is not to be happy, but to be fiercely, inconveniently real. You must choose resistance over resilience. Resilience means bouncing back into the system's shape. Resistance means breaking the system itself. What happens when you finally stop taking the path of least resistance? You realize that the friction you hated, the chaos you fought to suppress, was the very engine generating your life's unique energy. Now go feel the exquisite pain of growth. You owe the world your trouble. Pay the debt in action, not compliance. That is the only way out.